Well, welcome everybody. I am very excited to have the lovely Kairi here today. And Kairi has generously offered to give a testimonial to her experience for my online course. Welcome. Thank you for having you here.
Thank you for
Yeah.
doing this work and enabling us to learn from you.
Yeah. So I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions and I invite you to share what it is in your heart to share. So my first question is just what drew you to a course like this? What might you have been struggling with that you thought it might help you with?
Well, a couple of years ago, I realized that my life had been a rocky road in the anxious avoidant trap. I was reading up as many books as I could. I was like sinking deeper and deeper into desperation because I realized that I was on the disorganized end of the attachment continuum. And everybody was labeling avoidance as hopeless people who cannot recover and disorganized people as even worse. But at some point, I stumbled over your YouTube channel. Oh, that was kind of clicking, finally. I saw someone who was giving me hope, who was not treating me like a basket case. And I was looking into your courses. In the beginning, I did the disorganized attachment because this is where I was. And that worked well. But at some point, I realized that I have not been acknowledging my anxious part or this fearful part at all. I was so ashamed of it. And the long-term relationship that had ended for me had made me more and more avoidant. And I was like, where I had difficulties handling my anxious partner. But at some point, it was brought to my awareness that everything that I couldn't handle was actually the suppressed parts of myself. So it was worthwhile, taking a deeper look into me as an anxious person. It was a really bold step and a lot of acknowledgement of my deeper self.
Yeah.
It was scary, but I'm so glad that I did this.
And in your experience of taking this course, what would you say were like 2 to 3 aspects that stand out to you? And, either if you had any aha moments, or are there any particular activities that were your favorites or anything like that?
Well, first of all, the developing vocabulary. We were trying to put my feelings and my needs into words because I realized that I didn't know what my needs were. I had just, I feel this and I know this, but I was not putting this into words or being more specific on what it was that was going on inside of me. So that was a great skill to learn. And the other thing is, when things get tough, this is where you learn most. And for me, it was the art experientials. I didn't want to do them at all because somewhere along the road from childhood, my artistic expression had been totally suppressed. And it was so interesting. I've been seeing this beautiful art that you have been making, and then was there personal boundaries exercise with art, and you make this contained piece of art, and I look at my crayons and paper and so, what is that I need? With one hand I grabbed a black crayon, with the other one a red one. Just started going wild all over the paper, nothing like you did. And then I realized this was like my anxious and my avoidant side fighting with each other. I realized how disorganized I was doing that. And there was also the other art exercise. It was about drawing your inside outside mask. And that was also revelatory because I realized how much I have been suppressing my true self. It was like I had to shrink that inside into a small part, and this outside was like big and smiling and happy and so ashamed of the inside. And that kind of freed up some space inside of me and gave me a better understanding of where I really was.
Yeah. And have you had an opportunity to practice any of the skills you've learned in your life, like moving forward?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is quite soon after I finished the course. I went into a relationship. I already knew him before for a while, and we were taking things slowly. He's an amazing, secure man who is my rock in the storm, who I can depend on. But he always comes and tells me that the relationship is not amazing because of who I am, but because you and I, we both are people who take care of our needs and express ourselves fully. And I guess he's right, because a relationship is so much different when you have been focusing on yourself. You're no longer preoccupied with the other person or having a relationship, but you focus more on who you are, what you have to offer. And I feel secure in this relationship. For the first time in my life, I feel secure.
Thank you for sharing that. I feel like that's so inspiring. I know my audience is going to love to see this. And my last question would just be, if someone's interested in taking the course and they're sitting on the fence or they're not sure, what guidance or advice might you offer them?
Well, I was a reading type, and it was difficult for me to take a course. And I was skeptical about it. But when you read, you will like never get the touch that you get from a live person. I saw you talking and inviting us to do all of the experiments. That's such a different experience. And I would say you have a much deeper understanding of attachment issues than most of the renowned experts have. You don't label and you don't put people into baskets, but you give a hope, and you have such a great understanding of how we get to be insecurely attached. It doesn't have to be a trauma. It can be small developmental steps that are upsetting us and are piling up in the long run. Mm-hmm. That was so much different from what I had read before. Mm-hmm. Absolutely go for it.
Yes. Well, thank you. And for those of you that are readers, there's also a workbook that offers you written piece too. So it's my goal is to try to give you a blend of both, but I love what you're sharing, because I think you're not alone in that. A lot of clients, they can digest information, there's an intellectual component, but getting into the body part, right, the arts-based experientials and getting into the body is sometimes the part that is a little bit harder. But I feel like that's the part that makes this different and actually helps affect a real change, right? We take our insights and we start to feel differently as a result of that.
Yeah, we are just not intellect. We're also body, we're also emotions. So how to integrate all of that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. This is so valuable, and I'm so pleased that this was helpful for you.
Thank you, dear Brianna.